Washington Grown is brought to you by the potato farmers of Washington. Learn why Washington is home to the world's most productive potato fields and farmers by visiting potatoes.com. Also brought to you by Northwest Farm Credit Services, supporting agriculture and rural communities with reliable, consistent credit and financial services today and tomorrow. And by the Washington Turfgrass Seed Commission, helping our farmers produce the highest quality turfgrass seed in the world.
Hi everyone, I'm Christy Goranson and welcome to Washington Grown. I'm in a vineyard at Spokane's beautiful Arbor Crest Winery where some of the state's best wines are produced. From wine to beer, this episode is all about beverages. I'm touring the iconic Spokane destination, Arbor Crest Wine Cellars.
We really like to showcase the fruit. It's what Mother Nature gives us, and each year is different.
Plus, I'm making a turkey confit club at Carillon Kitchen.
I love being in Washington, not just with the produce, but the seafood. I kind of feel like we're in the Mecca.
Then, Tomas is visiting a pear orchard and learning how to make their special alcoholic perry.
This feels like the perfect thing to sip out on a summer's day, on the porch.
All this and more today on Washington Grown. This is harder than it looks. It's a little baby pig. That's really, really good. Right?
That's a little party in a little glass.
Well, hello there. Gobble, 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 gobble. Oh!
No TV bites here. I'm gonna dig in. Cheers, cheers, cheers. Here on the waters of Lake Washington in Kirkland, you can find Carillon Kitchen. As a grab-and-go restaurant for the Woodmark Hotel, this hidden gem has healthy, fresh, local food ready for the taking.
It's very casual, but very clean and fresh.
Carillon Kitchen is the best place for the morning and for lunches.
It's very quick, fast-paced.
Executive Chef Brian Doherty has designed the menu for patrons to be able to stop in and get high-quality food on the go.
People can come, grab a sandwich, they can grab a drink or a beverage or champagne or a bottle of wine, sit down and relax and have a good time.
Carillon Point overlooks Seattle and Lake Washington.
This oftentimes is the first place I recommend.
It's just gorgeous.
Why are, locally grown, Washington grown ingredients important to you as a chef?
Well, I've traveled all around the United States and it always draws me back here, just the plethora of beautiful ingredients that we have here, from the seafood to the morels to the mushrooms, and I get excited for each change in season, just to see what new flavors that we can come about.
Yeah.
They know everybody now who comes in. They see us and I never have to go up and order. They have it ready by the time I get to the cash register.
Everything comes out great. I haven't had a bad meal here.
They just put a lot of heart into their food, you can tell that.
Later on in the show, Chef Brian and I will make a special turkey confit club. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a disaster.
No, you'll be good.
I'm visiting the iconic Spokane destination, Arbor Crest Wine Cellars. Today, it's known for its incredible views of Spokane Valley and its amazing wines. But in the beginning, wine wasn't on the menu.
The Milky family began farming in the early 1950s on the valley floor in the Spokane Valley.
Jim Van Loben-Sells is part owner of Arbor Crest Wine Cellars. Early on in the estate's history, the owners grew cherries for Hostess pie filling.
In the late 70s, after they'd farmed for 15, 20 plus years, people stopped eating cherry pie and drinking coffee in the morning.
Cherry pie and coffee in the morning sounds awesome to
I'm
me.
not sure
we need to
who
get back
stopped
to
that
that
tradition.
Right.
Family said, what are we going to do? There's a trend change and shift, and they realized that the wine business was kind of starting to take off, and they thought maybe they could grow some grapes in Spokane on the valley floor. And after planting, I think they planted close to 50 varieties. They realized that Spokane was not going to be able to produce consistent wine grape quality on a year-to-year basis. So I said, let's go get grapes from the Columbia Valley, which they were just planting out. And here we are 38 years later, and majority of our fruit comes from the Columbia Valley, and we're making world-class wines.
Well, yeah. Although Arbor Crest gets most of their grapes from the Columbia Valley, they do have a vineyard that they use as a scenic backdrop and to make a few select wines.
When we took over the Riblet estate, we planted 5 acres of grapes. And in this vineyard we have Chardonnay, and we're in the Chardonnay block here. We use this in our sparkling wine. And sometimes we'll do a single varietal, like with our Pinot Noir.
It's been really neat to be in Washington State.
Christine Van Lobensells is part owner of Arbor Crest. She makes the fantastic wines they produce.
There is such a diverse amount of varietals that are grown here and grown well. A lot of other areas, it's very focused, Oregon, very focused on Pinot Noir. Washington State, we have such a broad amount of wines.
What makes Arbor Crest wine special?
Yeah, well, I would say that we really like to showcase the fruit. It's an agricultural product, so it's what Mother Nature gives us, and each year is different. And you spend all that time in the vineyard and making sure it's doing what you want it to do, taking it through that whole process and seeing that evolution of what this turns into from just this tiny little grape is pretty cool.
We pride ourselves here at Arbor Crest on customer service and great wines. From the moment you enter the property, we want you to feel welcome. We do concerts, we have a restaurant, we have a private wedding and event program. We're 400 feet off the valley floor, and you have a panoramic from Cheney, downtown Spokane, all the way out to Post Falls. It's a very unique location in Spokane itself. We've been able to develop and make it a destination winery versus just being in this model of selling wine to a distributor and just being a brand.
I came up from California, the Mecca, to come up here not expecting how amazing Washington fruit is. And so after, the first few years, it was like, oh, I've come home.
The unique thing about Washington is we have an incredible soil profile. The glacial flood from Montana really kind of reset the growing conditions in Washington State.
The vineyards are so diverse.
We have longer growing days.
And then our cooler evenings just promotes perfect grapes.
So we're just fortunate to be in the right spot at the right time.
Well, cheers. Thank you
Yeah,
so
cheers.
much.
Thank you.
Hey, let's go! If you like fresh fish and Washington ingredients, then Island Blends Acai is the food truck for you. Here, everything tastes good and feels good too.
Our motto is eat healthy, live happy, spread aloha.
Owner Alisher keeps his poke and acai bowls fresh, healthy, and of course, very flavorful.
We're known in Greater Seattle area as a healthy truck. We obviously try to source everything fresh. The secret ingredient is our sweet Walla Walla onion.
That's the secret ingredient.
For me, I think that's more of a hero that people don't talk about.
So you are taking the essence of Hawaii and the best of the Pacific Northwest, and you're combining them together.
Absolutely.
All right, now it's time to see what this is all about. It does feel very fresh.
Yeah.
And you're right, the onion, it is like a secret ingredient.
Yeah.
Oh, here's a nice compliment to this mellow, fresh fish.
Yep.
That's so good. I'm pretty sure everyone's gonna like this just as much as I did.
That's really good.
It tastes like butter. It's just very smooth.
It's got like a creamy sauce. It's got like a little crunch to it.
There's a lot of flavor, just good. It's perfect.
It's like a really, really fresh, like fish taste without being particularly fishy.
One of the secret ingredients he added in there was Walla Walla onions.
Really?
Yeah.
That was the sweetness. I like that.
I could lick the cup. It's so good.
Hands down, you're gonna recommend this place to your friends.
Absolutely.
I feel like you need to buy 2 servings because you're going to want more later.
Coming up, I'm making a turkey confit club at Carillon Kitchen. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be a disaster.
No, you'll be good.
And we're in the kitchen at Second Harvest trying out some Mediterranean chicken. We're back on the shores of Lake Washington at Carillon Kitchen. A gorgeous view, friendly atmosphere, and incredible food make this a stop for locals and tourists alike.
This oftentimes is the first place I recommend.
You could come for brunch or breakfast.
I would say it's pretty casual, but also, elevated from food quality.
They just put a lot of heart into their food, you can tell that.
We focus a lot on the details in back
Sure.
that the customer doesn't see.
Executive Chef Brian Doherty uses his skills in the kitchen to make food that feels fresh and healthy for people on the go.
This is part of our grab-and-go restaurant for the Woodmark Hotel. And it's a great concept. It's a healthier concept. We try to focus on local, organic ingredients.
It's very casual, but very clean and fresh.
Really just like a good kind of grab and go.
I would say it's super laid back.
We focus a lot on technique
Yeah.
and proper technique and that really accomplishes our end flavor and our goal of what we want. We do spend a lot of time in preparing, but we don't want that to affect the guest and waiting for a half hour for their meal.
It seems like you're out of town. It seems like you're somewhere kind of on the East Coast. You hear kind of the bells of the boats in the background.
I mean, you can see all of Lake Washington from here, the Olympic Mountains, Seattle. I love it here.
So what are you and I gonna make?
Well, our turkey confit club is one of our favorite signature items. It's a twist on a turkey club, but it's really the preparation and our sauce and how we prepare the turkey, which is
kicked up a notch.
Kicked up a notch, yeah.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
Here we go. Washington grown.
All right, awesome.
You get a lot of people off their boats coming here?
We do, yeah. A lot of people, yachts and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Coming up, grabbing food and going down.
Well, that's how I got here. I took my yacht.
So turkey confit is a French cooking method. So they do a light cure on it, cook it in its own fat, but we're going to use duck fat for this application.
And the outcome is like really moist, really rich.
Yes.
Just falling off the bone.
Yeah, and very
kind
flavorful.
Of, yeah.
We start by seasoning the turkey.
Okay.
It's very simple ingredients: salt, pepper, shallots, garlic, and then I use rosemary and thyme as well.
Oh, nice.
And we'll just put that in there. And then what? Dump the.
Do you want me to just dump that?
Yeah.
We layer the bottom of the pan with rosemary, shallots, and garlic. Then we add the turkey and cover the top with more herbs.
And then we're going to cover it. Let this sit overnight for about 36 hours.
So you have to be patient for this.
You have to be patient for it. Yeah.
But the outcome is great.
Yeah, the end result's amazing. So while we wait, we can make the tomato jam.
We heat up a pan of olive oil and add in some fresh basil, which we'll remove after cooking. Next, we add a skinless and seedless tomato.
So those are organic, locally grown heirloom tomatoes. Yeah.
Isn't that nice having something
It
from
is.
right out here?
It is, and I love being in Washington, not just with the produce, but the seafood. I kind of feel like we're in the Mecca.
We cook that down and then add some red wine vinegar and about 4 tablespoons of sugar.
So we're going to cook this down until all the liquid is removed from the pan, and it's about a jam consistency. Is
Oh,
what we
okay.
want.
About
Yeah.
how long does that take?
It takes about 2 to 3 hours. Yeah, you
So
cook it
again,
really slow.
You have to
simmer.
be patient.
You have to be patient
You're
with
really
these dishes.
testing me today.
After the turkey's done marinating, we pour the duck fat over it and let it cook overnight.
And when you take it out, it just falls apart. You can
falls
see it.
apart.
Just like that.
Oh my gosh, it's so good.
After all that time, we finally get to make the sandwich. We start with a rosemary baguette and add the tomato jam. Next comes the Beecher's white cheddar and the turkey. Then we sprinkle on some bacon, toast the sandwich, and move on to some tomato slices.
It's a honking tomato.
Tomato.
Yeah.
We add some avocado and some baby kale with the touch of olive oil, salt, and pepper.
And voila.
And voila.
Look at how beautiful that is.
And then
There we go.
Ready to go.
Oh my gosh. This is going to be a disaster.
No, you'll be good.
That is so good. Everything about it is delicious. I like how it's a little messy too. That is a turkey confit club. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
That was great.
To get the recipe for Carillon Kitchen's Turkey Confit Club, visit wagrown.com.
Out here in the Wenatchee Valley in Dryden, miles of orchards create a beautiful landscape for us to enjoy. But take a closer look and you'll find something just as beautiful. In the right hands, these pears can be transformed into a delicious adult beverage.
Simply said, Perry is to pears as apples are to cider.
Micah Roberson is the co-owner of Independent Perry. Here, they take Washington-grown pears and make a drink not too many of us have experienced.
We exclusively use pears to make our product, therefore it's Perry.
So if it was grapes, it'd be grapey?
I've heard it called wine. I mean, it's not every day that you get to watch people try something for the first time.
Right.
More likely than not, folks have not tried Perry. Our pears consistently yield about 6% alcohol by volume. We're really excited that we can hit that spot. It's just a really comfortable place to be.
And it will make you comfortable within a couple glasses. That's good.
It can do that. We live in such a rich region for fresh fruit. It's the cool nights during growing season, it's the warm days, it's the abundant sunshine that we get, the water that's available. For us to have control of the orchards, our harvest, all the way through to the bottle, to the can, to the grocery shelf. Not a lot of folks have that opportunity to grow their fruit, process their own fruit, especially pears, and produce it into something so exciting.
Now it's time to check out the finished product in their processing room.
We have our fermentation tanks in front of us here, and our carbonation finishing tanks here.
So then after it goes through this process, it literally then is just introduced to CO2 and then bottled?
You got it.
That's it?
Yep.
That's pretty simple, actually. First, Micah had me try some pear juice that had just started fermenting. Right out of the tank.
These were whole pears as of last Friday. This is probably our favorite stage of the juice.
It's really good.
There's little to no alcohol.
Right.
But you still get that really fruit-forward pear flavor.
Now, how come we don't see more often like pear juice next to like apple juice and orange juice?
That's a good question. I don't exactly know.
Because this is great.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
After all that, I finally get to try the finished product. That's a little party in a little glass. If I didn't know what this was, if you just said, hey, Tomas, try this, I might have a hard time trying to figure out what it is that I'm drinking.
Pears are such a subtle fruit to begin with, but it makes a great canvas for just a really approachable, welcoming drink.
It's dry, but yet it has that brightness to it. This feels like the perfect thing to sip out on a summer's day, on the porch. Nice job, man.
Cheers.
Coming up, I'm touring Link Malt to see how they're preparing local barley to make beer.
You know, they just don't take it and malt it and not tell anybody what it is. They want to bring people back to this field.
So we're here today in my home garden, and I would love to talk to you about one of my favorite things to grow, herbs. Now I have tons of things growing that are in the mint family. So this is what I call a French mint. It's lovely and it's very spicy, and it's best in things like hot teas and beverages. You can identify things in the mint family because they all have a square stem. Things in the mint family are very easy to propagate. You don't need to buy starts. If you have a friend that has a mint that you really like, all you have to do is cut a stem off the plant, pop it in a jar of water, and it will reroot. So I have several different things in the mint family growing here. I have a lemon balm, I have anise hyssop, and I have just a standard mint. Lemon balm provides a nice lemony scent. You can use it in dried teas. And then a standard mint is great just diced into a fruit salad, or you can throw it in yogurt, and it's wonderfully cooling in the summer. Anise hyssop has a really punchy licorice flavor, and I really like to just sometimes smell it when I'm in the garden, but you can also use it in teas. If you dry your mint during the summer months, you can enjoy your mint year-round.
Enjoying an ice-cold beer is one of life's greatest pleasures, but getting it from the field to the bottle takes dedication and passion. Today I'm in Spokane Valley at Link Malt, where they're taking grain and malt to the next level.
This warehouse is used to process grain to get it ready for sale to brewers and distillers.
Brian Estes is a malt specialist and head of operations at Link Malt. His goal is to create unique flavor profiles for breweries and distilleries to use.
Malting is the process that's necessary to get raw grain ready to do the fermentation that's necessary for making beer. All of the stored carbohydrate in a raw grain is really hard to get at to break down into the simple sugars that a brewer needs for fermentation. And of the 4 ingredients that go into beer, water, hops, yeast, and malt. Malt is the place where that sugar comes from. So our job is to make sure that we can give that brewer maximum access to that stored potential of the grain. What we provide on top of that is a lot of interesting flavor profiles they can use to build out super high quality beer. We work with 8 or 9 different barley varietals, and each one has its own flavor profile. So depending on what the recipe is, what the kind of flavor expression that a brewer is looking for, we've got different barley varietals. On top of how we malt it, it's just the barley itself can really present different characteristics. That's something that is pretty unique and new. Normally when you buy a pale malt as a brewer, you don't know what the barley varietal is. It's often a blend of different varietals. We're excited by saying, well, we want our genie to taste the same way every time. We want our lion to taste the same way every time, but we like that we've got 2 different flavor profiles that we can offer.
You like to make sure that your customers know where the barley is coming from, right?
Exactly. We're really looking around at the kind of demand for knowing your farmer, knowing where your food comes from. Now when a brewer or distiller orders a malt from us, I'm always going to be able to tell them exactly who grew it, where it came from.
My name's Bill Myers. I'm from Joseph's Granary.
Bill grows Baroness barley for Link Malts. Whether it's malting, brewing, or distilling, his crop is popular for its flavor.
Why do craft brewers like this particular type of barley?
It seems like the taste profiles that we're able to generate are different. And brewers and distillers really care about the grain. They want to know about the grain. They want to know the story.
It's not just that we can be proud that it's Eastern Washington grown grain, but that it's grown by James Wall, by Bill Myers, by Don Sherman.
You know, they just don't take it and malt it and not tell anybody what it is. They want to bring people back to this field.
To be able to have a consistently world-class product as the starting point for what we do is really important. I'll stop by to see a customer in their tap room, and I've got a farmer sitting at the bar having a beer made with his malt.
What is it like to be able to drink a beer that you know was made from your barley?
It's terribly gratifying, is what it is. It's just something we don't get to do in this industry. Usually, you'll cut this crop, it'll go on your truck, it'll run down to the river, and you'll never see it again. You might run across it in a stake someplace, but you'll never know.
Yeah, you won't know.
Now it's time the three of us shared a nice, cold Washington brewed beer together.
It's very seldom that you experience bad beer.
There's a lot of good beer being made in the state right now. Cheers, y'all.
Awesome. Thank
Cheers.
you so much. Cheers, cheers,
Thanks for coming out.
We are in the kitchen at Second Harvest Food Bank in Spokane, getting ready to taste test some recipes from allrecipes.com. And these are recipes that are made with some Washington-grown ingredients. I've got my taste testers with me today, Tomas, my co-host, and Laurent, a chef and local restaurant owner of Fleur de Sel. Thank you.
Good to see you. Bonjour.
Yes, and we love his French accent and just your expertise. We
Well,
appreciate
thank you.
that. And this is the beverage episode, right?
Ooh,
One of my
one of
favorite
Christy's
episodes.
Fans of the show will know how much she enjoys her beer and
I
wine.
know, beer and wine. That's what I love. I got to go to Arbor Crest, like you saw. That was such a fun. If you ever have a chance to visit Arbor Crest Winery, up on the cliffside, the historic building
It's
up
beautiful,
there.
yes. They do
Just
such
the
a great
setting
job.
is incredible. So this recipe has some wine in it, some white wine in it. It's Mediterranean chicken, and it's by Robin. And you can find this recipe on allrecipes.com. It's sauteed chicken, simmered in a sauce of tomatoes, olives, white wine, garlic, and herbs. And it only takes about 20 minutes.
That's it.
That's
Sounds
it.
good. Yes, we have a very close recipe in France called poulet basquez, similar to this but with more peppers, bell peppers.
Okay.
But I cannot wait to taste this one.
Yeah, so it only takes 20 minutes. Let's find out how we make it. right, now we get to try the Mediterranean chicken, and we've got our Arbor Crest Sauvignon Blanc
I say
go with
we
it?
cheer. Cheers
Yes.
to you. Santé.
Cheers, santé.
Santé to
Santé.
you. Santé to Washington grown.
Cheers.
Cheers. Santé.
So good. Now,
All right.
let's try the chicken.
A cooking wine adds some acidity to the sauce, to the stew, and
Yeah. I like
it
it.
creates a nice balance with the tomatoes and the onions.
And you could use a different part of the chicken too, right?
Exactly.
You don't
If-
have to use breast. You could,
If you are not on a diet, you too, Thomas, you could use maybe something that brings a little more, would be a little more juicy than the breast. A thigh, a leg would be great in that dish.
This
but this only has, a serving of this only has like 200 and something calories, is that right?
Yes, 222 calories.
It's very light.
Wow. Kim says amazing. I made this for my parents when they visited and they were so impressed. Easy way to impress the parents. I like that.
Delicious.
And Laurent's drinking more wine, so I will follow suit.
Please do.
I really like it. So thank you, Robin. Mediterranean chicken.
Nice work.
Easy,
Thank
simple, and low calories.
So I'm gonna eat more.
Very good.
To get the recipe for Mediterranean chicken, visit wagrown.com.
So whether it's an ice cold glass of beer or a nice relaxing glass of wine, Washington creates the best in the business. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. Thanks for watching.